8 months pregnant, fighting for her life on an operating table. And her billionaire husband, he's not there. He's in a penthouse with his mistress. The phone rings. Your wife is dying. He looks at it and turns it off. But fate wasn't done with her, because that woman, the one he left bleeding and broken, would rise again. And when she did, she'd have something he'd never understand: power, peace, and a love he could never destroy. This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about resurrection, about dying for 47 seconds and coming back stronger than ever. Get ready. The twist will shatter you. If you believe karma never misses, like, comment, share, and subscribe, because this story will stay with you long after it ends. Some betrayals don't kill you instantly. They bleed you slowly, one broken promise at a time. Kane Private Medical Institute, midnight. The overhead lights cast harsh shadows across the operating room as Dr. Owen Kane barked orders to his surgical team. Blood everywhere. Too much blood. BP dropping, 80 over 40, a nurse called out, her voice tight with controlled panic. On the table, Isabel Morrison lay unconscious, her skin the color of old paper, 8 months pregnant with twins and dying. Owen's hands moved with practiced precision, making the incision for an emergency cesarean section, while his colleague, Dr. Melissa Hart, worked to stabilize the hemorrhaging. She's coding, Melissa said. Across town, in a luxury penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Boston's glittering skyline, Marcus Davison pulled Claire Ashford closer. Champagne glasses sat on the marble counter. The city sparkled below them like scattered diamonds. His phone vibrated on the nightstand. The screen lit up. Your wife is coding, St. Vincent's Hospital. Marcus glanced at it. His jaw tightened for just a moment. Then he reached over and silenced it. Claire stirred against him. Who was that? No one important, Marcus said. He turned back to her, and the phone went dark. This is the moment Marcus Davison chose. Now let me show you how we got here. 6 months earlier, the Metropolitan Charity Gala had transformed the Boston Convention Center into something from a fairy tale. Crystal chandeliers, ice sculptures, women in designer gowns, men in tailored tuxedos. The kind of event where a single table cost $20,000. Bella Morrison stood beside her husband on the stage, smiling for the cameras. She wore a simple navy dress that flowed elegantly over her figure. At 32, she still had that fresh-faced quality that made people trust her instantly. Her foundation, Morrison Hope, had just been featured in Forbes for its innovative approach to homeless services. Marcus Davison held her hand as he addressed the crowd of Boston's elite. Tall, commanding, with the kind of charisma that made people lean in when he spoke. At 38, he'd built Davison Digital Empire from nothing into a $2 billion tech company. My wife reminds me every day that success means nothing without compassion, Marcus said into the microphone. The crowd applauded. Bella touched his arm affectionately. For just a split second, so brief most people wouldn't notice, Marcus pulled away. The cameras caught them kissing for the photo op. They looked perfect. In the limousine going home, Bella took his hand. I have something to tell you. Marcus was checking emails on his phone. I'm pregnant with twins. His fingers stopped moving on the screen. He looked up, and his smile froze for just a moment before returning. Now, with the Tecton merger happening. I thought you'd be happy. Bella's voice was small. I am. Marcus forced warmth into his tone. Just surprised. It's a lot to process. But underneath the romantic piano music playing through the limo's speakers, something discordant had entered their marriage. Bella heard it even if she didn't want to admit it yet. 3 weeks later, she found the lingerie. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Bella had borrowed Marcus's car to run errands because hers was in the shop. When she reached into the glove compartment for sunglasses, her fingers brushed against silk. Red silk, she pulled it out. Expensive lingerie, still in its boutique bag. The price tag was still attached. $800, size 2. Bella was a size 8. That evening, she confronted him in his home office. The mansion they shared had belonged to Marcus's family for generations. All dark wood and old money. His father, Richard, lived in the guest house on the property. Marcus, whose is this? He barely looked up from his laptop. What? This was in your car. Bella held up the lingerie, her hand trembling. Marcus glanced at it, annoyed. Probably a gift for you I forgot about. You're being paranoid. It's not my size. You're hormonal. Pregnancy does that. His tone was dismissive, like he was explaining something obvious to a child. Marcus, I'm serious. The office door opened. Richard Davison stood there, 65 years old and still intimidating in his three-piece suit. Son, what's the commotion? Nothing, Dad. Bella's just stressed about the pregnancy. Richard turned to Bella. Don't let pregnancy emotions ruin his important year. The Tecton merger is worth $2 billion. Bella felt herself shrinking. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's fine. Marcus was already back to his laptop. Just go rest, okay? She left the office feeling crazy. In the hallway, she caught her reflection in the gilded mirror. The woman staring back looked lost. Bella didn't recognize her anymore. That was the first crack. But the real breaking point came 2 weeks later, on their 6th wedding anniversary. Bella spent all afternoon preparing. She made Marcus's favorite meal, braised short ribs that took 6 hours. She set the dining room table with their wedding china, lit candles everywhere. She wore the dress from their wedding rehearsal dinner, though it barely fit over her growing belly now. 7 p.m. Dinner was ready. The table looked beautiful. 8 p.m. The food was getting cold. The candles had burned down an inch. 9 p.m. Bella called Marcus. Voicemail. 10 p.m. She was crying now, mascara running down her face. The short ribs had congealed in their sauce. The candles were puddles of wax. 11 p.m. The front door opened. Marcus walked in, loosening his tie. He smelled like perfume. Not Bella's perfume. Something heavier, more expensive. Where were you? Bella's voice cracked. Finalizing the Tecton deal with Claire. It's complicated. He headed toward the stairs without even looking at the dining room. It's our anniversary, Marcus. He stopped, turned. His face was genuinely confused. What? Our anniversary, 6 years today. The silence that followed was horrible. It stretched and stretched, filling every corner of their enormous house with the weight of everything wrong between them. Jesus, Bella, with everything going on. You forgot. It wasn't a question. Stop being clingy. I'm building an empire. That benefits you too, Tanu. I don't care about the empire, Bella's voice rose. I care about us. There is no us anymore. Marcus's words were sharp, surgical. There's you, being needy, and me, trying to keep everything from falling apart. He walked upstairs, left her standing there, surrounded by cold food and dying candles in the ruins of their anniversary. Bella locked herself in the master bathroom. She slid down the tile wall, clutching her swollen belly. The twins kicked. She'd never felt more alone in her life. The next morning, Marcus appeared with flowers. Clearly bought by his assistant, the card said, Love Marcus, in handwriting that wasn't his. I'm sorry, you're right. Let's do therapy. Bella looked up at him, desperate to believe. Really? After the merger, I promise. She accepted the flowers. She wanted so badly to believe the man she'd married was still in there somewhere. That love could come back if she just tried hard enough. But the music in their marriage had changed, and it was never going to sound the same again. 2 weeks after the forgotten anniversary, Bella couldn't shake the feeling. It followed her everywhere. The smell of Claire's perfume on Marcus's collar, the lingerie in the car, the way he flinched when she touched him. Her sister Jade visited on a Tuesday afternoon. Jade was 28, a single mother working 2 jobs, and she'd never trusted Marcus from the beginning. She sat at Bella's kitchen island, watching her sister pretend everything was fine. You look terrible, Jade said bluntly. I'm 8 months pregnant with twins. I'm supposed to look terrible. That's not what I mean. Jade leaned forward. What's going on? Bella's carefully constructed facade crumbled. She told Jade everything. The lingerie, the anniversary, the perfume, the distance. Hire a private investigator, Jade said. I can't, that's crazy. Bella, you're not crazy. You're being gaslit. Get proof. So Bella did something she'd never thought she'd do. She used $5,000 from the Morrison Hope Foundation Emergency Fund, the first unethical thing she'd done in 8 years of running the nonprofit. She hired a private investigator. 1 week later, a manila envelope arrived at the mansion. Bella sat alone in the living room. Marcus was at work. She opened the envelope with shaking hands. Photographs spilled onto the marble coffee table. Marcus and a woman with dark hair and red lips walking into hotels, his hand on the small of her back. Intimate restaurants with candlelight, her leaving his downtown penthouse at 6 a.m. wearing wrinkled clothes. The worst photo, the woman wearing the red lingerie Bella had found in Marcus's penthouse. Bella recognized the view through the windows behind her. The timestamp said 3 months ago, before Bella got pregnant. The affair had been going on for over a year. More photos showed Marcus kissing the woman's forehead, holding her hand, looking at her the way he used to look at Bella before everything turned cold. Hotel receipts, a $12,000 weekend at the Four Seasons Maui. That was when Marcus had told Bella he was at a tech conference. The private investigator's note was clipped to the file. Subject and mistress meet 4 to 5 times weekly. Affair ongoing for 18 months or more. Subject's mistress is Claire Ashford, corporate counsel at Davison Digital. Bella made it to the kitchen sink before she vomited. That evening, Bella confronted Marcus in his home office. She didn't knock, just walked in and spread the photographs across his mahogany desk like evidence at a trial. "Tell me these are fake, please." Marcus looked at the photos. His expression didn't change. He didn't even try to deny it. "Where did you get those?" "That's what you're worried about? Not that you've been lying for over a year? You hired a private investigator?" Now his voice held emotion. Anger. "That's insane, Bella. You're sleeping with her." Marcus stood up slowly. When he spoke, his voice was calm, cruel. "Claire understands my world. She doesn't need me. She matches me. You've become needy. The pregnancy changed everything. I'm carrying your children. I never wanted kids. I told you that when we met. You said you changed your mind. We planned this, the fertility treatments. No, you planned it. You heard what you wanted to hear." Marcus's eyes were cold. "That was you being desperate. I went along because it was easier than fighting." The words hit like physical blows. Bella's legs felt weak. "How long has she worked for you?" 18 months. The timeline clicked into place. The affair had started before the pregnancy, before the fertility treatments, before Bella had believed her marriage could be saved. "The affair started before I got pregnant," Bella whispered. Yes. Something inside Bella broke. Not dramatically, quietly, like ice cracking under too much weight. She clutched her stomach. Sharp pains shot through her abdomen. "Oh God, what's wrong?" Marcus took a step back, not forward. The pain intensified. Bella felt wetness between her legs. When she looked down, blood was soaking through her dress. "Call 911, Marcus, please." He stood there, frozen, disgusted by the mess, by her weakness, by the children he'd never wanted. "Marcus!" Bella's voice was a scream now. Finally, he pulled out his phone, but the damage was done. The man she'd loved, the man she'd built a life with, had chosen his mistress over his dying wife. And this was only the beginning of how far he would go. Marcus finally called 911. Then, while paramedics were still 20 minutes away, he made another call. To Jade. "Something's wrong with Bella. Ambulance is coming." His voice was flat, like he was reporting a broken appliance. "Where are you meeting them?" Jade asked. "I have a meeting." "What?" He hung up. Jade threw herself into her beat-up Honda Civic and raced across Boston. Traffic was brutal. By the time she arrived at the mansion, the ambulance was already there. Paramedics were loading Bella onto a stretcher, her face gray with pain. "Ma'am, who's your emergency contact?" A paramedic asked Bella. "My husband, Marcus." Bella's voice was fading. The paramedic checked Bella's phone, tried calling. No answer. Tried again. Nothing. Jade climbed into the ambulance with her sister. "I'm here, Bella. Stay with me." Across town, Marcus stood in Claire Ashford's penthouse apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of Boston's skyline. They'd been celebrating all evening. The Tecton merger had officially closed that afternoon. $2 billion, the biggest deal of Marcus's career. Champagne sat open on the counter. Claire had ordered caviar from their favorite restaurant. The city lights sparkled below like promises of everything money could buy. Marcus's phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. He glanced at the caller ID. Jade, Bella's sister. First call, second call, third call. Claire wrapped her arms around him from behind. She was 29, with dark hair and the kind of confidence that came from never questioning her right to take what she wanted. Ignore it. Tonight is about us. Marcus hesitated. It's her sister. Probably just drama. You said you wanted to leave her anyway. He silenced the phone, poured champagne. They toasted to the merger, to the future, to everything they were building together. Fourth call, fifth call, sixth call. Marcus put the phone face down. That's persistent. Claire laughed. That's my man, choosing his future over his past. In the ambulance, Bella screamed as another contraction hit, blood pressure dropping. The paramedic shouted into his radio for the emergency room to prep for a critical patient. Ma'am, stay with us. We're almost there. Seventh call, eighth call, ninth call. Marcus kissed Claire. The champagne tasted expensive. Victory tasted sweeter. Jade left another voicemail. Her 15th. Her voice was raw with panic. Your wife is dying. Your children are dying. If you have any humanity left, get to St. Vincent's Hospital now. This time Marcus heard it. His phone was on speaker. Claire had picked it up to silence it, and Jade's voice filled the penthouse. Marcus's face drained of color. Claire's expression turned cold, calculating. You should go. Bad optics if she dies and you were with me. What do I have to go? Play the concerned husband, then we'll handle the divorce quietly. She kissed him. I'll come with you. Moral support. St. Vincent's Hospital emergency room was chaos. Bella on a gurney, doctors shouting orders, machines beeping urgent warnings. She's preeclamptic and hemorrhaging. We need consent for emergency cesarean section, a doctor said. Where's the husband? A nurse demanded. I've called him 47 times. Jade's voice cracked. We need next of kin's signature or we risk malpractice. She's dying. A nurse pulled up Bella's file on the computer. Her face went strange. Her emergency contact is listed as Claire Ashford. Jade stared. That's his mistress. Hospital legal got involved. 20 minutes of delay while they tried to sort out consent. 20 minutes while Bella's blood pressure spiked dangerously. 180 over 120. The baby's heart rates were dropping. Finally, 2.5 hours after the first call, Marcus arrived. Claire walked in with him. Her hand was on his arm. Ultimate humiliation. Jade lunged at Marcus. Where the hell were you? Security grabbed her, held her back. The doctor confronted Marcus, disgusted. Where were you? We've been testing to reach you for hours. Marcus's lie was smooth. I was in a board meeting, no phones allowed. Your wife was clinically dead for 90 seconds. We revived her, but we need consent now. Marcus signed the papers. His hand was steady, no emotion on his face. Don't you want to see her? Jade screamed. I'll see her after. I can't handle blood. He turned to the doctor, quietly so only the doctor could hear. After this, I want a divorce. Can you recommend lawyers who handle this discreetly? The doctor looked at him with pure disgust. I'm a physician, not a divorce attorney. They wheeled Bella toward the operating room. She was barely conscious, but she saw him. Marcus? He turned away. Couldn't even look at her. Emergency medications stabilized Bella enough to postpone the immediate cesarean section. They moved her to the high-risk maternity ward. She'd need bed rest, monitoring, possibly weeks. Marcus signed more paperwork. When he came to the line about paternity, he paused. Get a paternity test. The doctor stared at him. Excuse me? You heard me? I want to be sure they're mine. Jade slapped him. Hard. The sound echoed through the hallway. You bastard! Security escorted Jade out while she screamed at him. Bella heard everything through the walls. She lay in her hospital bed and sobbed silently. This was devastation number 3. The man she'd loved, the father of her children, had publicly questioned if they were even his, and somehow it was going to get worse. 2 weeks after the hospital nightmare, Bella was staying at Jade's apartment in Dorchester, a small, cramped place that smelled like the Chinese restaurant downstairs. Bella could barely walk, doctor's orders, bed rest until the babies came. Marcus had moved out of their mansion. He was living with Claire in her luxury penthouse now, not even trying to hide it anymore. The knock on Jade's door came on a Thursday afternoon. A man in an expensive suit stood there with a leather briefcase. "Mrs. Davison, I'm attorney Richard Chen. I represent your husband." Bella sat on the worn couch wrapped in a blanket. "What does he want?" The lawyer pulled out divorce papers. Thick stack, official seals. "Mr. Davison is offering $50 million as settlement, plus $100,000 per month in child support." $50 million. More money than Bella had ever imagined having. Enough to never worry again. "I don't want his money." Bella's voice was quiet but firm. "I want him to be a father. I want co-parenting." The lawyer looked surprised. "Mrs. Davison, my client is prepared to be very generous if you sign quickly." "Tell Marcus I want him to be a father, that's all." The lawyer left, clearly confused by a woman who'd turned down $50 million. The next day, Marcus called. First time in 2 weeks. "I'll do supervised visitation after birth. Monthly." Bella's heart leapt. "Really?" "They're my kids. I should try." His voice sounded uncertain. Maybe regretful. For the first time since the hospital, Bella felt hope. Maybe fatherhood would change him. Maybe seeing his children would remind him of the man he used to be. She started planning. In Jade's tiny spare room, she set up 2 cribs, bought baby clothes, tiny socks, onesies with little animals on them. She smiled for the first time in weeks. Jade watched her with worried eyes. "Bella, don't trust him. He's their father. People can change, not people like Marcus." But Bella wanted to believe. The alternative was too dark. For 3 beautiful days, she let herself imagine a future where her children had a father, where maybe, just maybe, they could be a family. Not the way it was before, but something new. Then Morrison Hope Foundation received an emergency audit notice from the IRS. The phone call came while Bella was folding tiny baby clothes. Her CFO's voice was panicked. "Bella, we've been reported to the IRS for financial fraud. All our accounts are frozen." "That's impossible. We're completely transparent." "Who reported us?" "Anonymous. But they had internal documents. Stuff only staff would have access to." Bella's hands started shaking. Morrison Hope was her life's work. 8 years building it from nothing. They ran 3 women's shelters, after-school programs, job training. They'd helped thousands of women get back on their feet. The investigation moved fast. Too fast. Within days, the truth emerged. Marcus had been the foundation's anonymous major donor. 60% of their funding came from a shell company he controlled. And now he was withdrawing all support, demanding a refund of $4 million. Worse, he'd filed a false IRS report, forged documents suggesting Bella had embezzled $500,000 for personal use. The foundation collapsed overnight. 40 employees laid off. 3 shelters closed. 120 women and children displaced with nowhere to go. The media devoured it. Headlines screamed across every news site. "Billionaire's wife embezzles from own charity." "Morrison Foundation scam. $500,000 missing." "Davison's ex-wife faces federal charges." Marcus had leaked fake documents to the press. Photos of Bella at charity galas in designer dresses. They'd all been donated for events, but in the photos, she looked guilty, privileged, like a gold digger caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Paparazzi swarmed Jade's apartment building. Bella couldn't leave without cameras in her face. Reporters shouting questions. "Mrs. Davison, where's the missing money? Did you embezzle to fund your lifestyle? Any comment on your husband's affair?" Her face was on every tabloid, every news channel. Social media tore her apart. Former employees called crying. One woman's voice broke Bella's heart. "My daughter was in your after-school program. Now I can't afford childcare. How could you do this to us?" Bella couldn't defend herself. Her lawyer said to stay silent while the investigation proceeded. So she took the hate, absorbed it, let the world think she was a thief and a liar. She stopped eating, just stared at walls. The babies kicked inside her, and she felt nothing but numbness. Jade found her in the bathroom at 3 a.m. Bella was holding scissors, about to cut off all her hair. "Bella, what are you doing? I don't want to be her anymore." Bella's voice was hollow, broken. "The woman everyone hates." Jade took the scissors away, held her sister while she sobbed. This was catastrophe number 2, and Marcus wasn't done yet. 4 weeks later, the IRS investigation cleared Bella, took $80,000 in legal fees she didn't have. But her name was cleared. The foundation was still dead, though. Her reputation destroyed, damage done. Jade tried to lift her spirits with a small baby shower. Just 6 close friends in Jade's cramped living room. Modest decorations from the dollar store, a grocery store cake. Bella smiled for the first time in weeks. One of her friends said, "You're going to be an amazing mom." "I hope so, after everything." The doorbell rang. Jade opened it. A process server stood there with a manila envelope. Official court seal. Legal documents for Bella Morrison Davison. Bella opened it with shaking hands, started reading. The words swam before her eyes. Marcus was suing for a full custody before the babies were even born. Emergency petition due to maternal instability. Everyone in the room went silent. The baby shower decorations suddenly looked pathetic. Bella read aloud, voice breaking. Petitioner asserts respondent is mentally unstable, financially irresponsible, and poses danger to unborn children. Her friends are awkwardly left. Nobody knew what to say. The door closed behind them, and Bella was alone with the legal documents that might take her children away before she ever got to hold them. The lawyer Jade found was pro bono, a friend of a friend who owed Jade a favor. They met in a coffee shop because the lawyer couldn't afford an office. "This is aggressive," the lawyer said, reading through Marcus's petition. "He's using everything against you." The document was brutal. Mental instability, cited her pregnancy depression, the night with the pills. Financial crimes, the fake embezzlement charges, even though she'd been cleared. Dangerous living situation, Jade's working class neighborhood in Dorchester. Erratic behavior, hiring a private investigator, confronting him. Nuclear bomb, Marcus had filed a restraining order. Bella couldn't contact him directly. His strategy was clear. Isolate her, paint her as crazy, then take the babies the moment they were born. With his resources, he could win. The lawyer's honesty was brutal. He'll hire the best custody evaluators, present you as unstable. "I'm not unstable, I'm surviving." In family court, perception is reality, and he's painting a damning picture. "What are my chances?" Long pause. "Well, honestly, 40-60, maybe worse." Bella walked home in a daze. She might lose her babies. Everything she'd endured, every humiliation, every betrayal, all for nothing. Marcus would take them, and she'd never see them again. That night, alone in Jade's spare room, Bella read the legal documents over and over. Unfit mother, danger to children, unstable, irresponsible. Marcus's words on paper destroying her. She went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror. The woman staring back was hollow, broken, unrecognizable. Bella opened the medicine cabinet. Jade's prescription sleeping pills. She poured them into her palm. "They'd be better off without me. Marcus will give them everything I can't." Swallowed 2 pills, then 3. The babies kicked hard, like they knew, like they were fighting for her. Bella's hand froze. She heard a key in the door. Jade had come home early, forgot her phone, heard crying from the bathroom. Jade broke down the door, saw the pill bottle. "Bella, how many did you take?" "Not enough, I couldn't. The babies." "He doesn't get to erase you. Fight, goddammit." Jade called poison control. Bella had only taken 3 pills. She'd be okay. Jade held her while they waited for instructions. Then Bella gasped. "Jade, something's wrong." Water broke, blood everywhere. 2 weeks early. "Oh God, we need an ambulance." Jade called 911. Wait time, 45 minutes. They were in a low priority zone. "We can't wait that long." Jade grabbed her keys. "I'm driving you, now." Jade drove through Boston like a maniac. Bella was bleeding in the back seat, barely conscious. They headed for St. Vincent's Hospital. The ER nurse recognized Bella's name in the computer system. She's flagged. Custody dispute. We need legal clearance before treating. She's dying, Jade screamed. Hospital policy. I'm sorry. They turned them away. Jade remembered something, a new story she'd seen last month. Dr. Owen Kane, billionaire physician who'd opened his private medical institute. Every Thursday night, he ran a free clinic for uninsured patients. It's Thursday. Maybe he's there. Kane Private Medical Institute was in Boston's South End. Modern building, all glass and steel. At 11:47 p.m., it looked closed. Dark. Jade banged on the glass doors. Help, please! A security guard appeared, started to say they were closed. Then he saw the blood. Bella unconscious in Jade's arms. He grabbed his radio. Dr. Kane, emergency at front entrance. Owen Kane appeared from a hallway. 6'2", salt and pepper hair, surgical scrubs. He'd been working late, reviewing patient files. 40 years old and still handsome in that weathered way that spoke of hard-earned wisdom. He opened the door, saw the blood. Get her inside now. They rushed Bella to the operating room. Prep for emergency C-section. Call Dr. Hart. Move. Owen barked orders while scrubbing in. Bella was barely conscious on the table. My babies, please save my babies. I've got you. What's your name? Bella Morrison. Owen paused mid-scrub. Morrison, are you related to Marcus Davison? His wife, ex-wife. Please don't call him. Owen's jaw tightened. I won't. His expression darkened. He recognized the name. 5 years ago, Owen and Marcus had been friends. Brothers, almost. They'd met in business school at Harvard. Both brilliant, both ambitious. They'd started a medical AI company together. Kane Davison MedTech. Owen had invented the diagnostic algorithm. Revolutionary technology that could detect diseases months earlier than traditional methods. This could save millions of lives, Owen had told Marcus. And make us billions, Marcus had replied. The company grew fast. Within 3 years, it was worth $200 million. Then Owen's wife Sarah got pregnant. Complications started early. Preeclampsia, the same condition Bella had now. Sarah went into labor at 32 weeks. Emergency situation. Owen was operating on his dying wife when Marcus called an emergency board meeting. Owen missed it. He was holding Sarah's hand while she died. Their daughter was born alive, but Sarah didn't make it. 3 days later, at Sarah's funeral, Marcus approached Owen. I'm sorry for your loss, but we need to discuss the company. Owen was barely functional, grief-stricken, caring for a newborn alone. Marcus didn't wait. He called another emergency board meeting, invoked a clause in their partnership agreement. Founder abandonment. Owen had missed 3 board meetings. While burying his wife and learning to be a single father, Marcus had taken everything. Owen lost his company, his life's work, his wife, everything in 1 week. Marcus sent a condolence card with a buyout offer, $5 million for Owen's 50% stake. The company was worth $100 million. Marcus's lawyers made sure Owen had no recourse. Owen disappeared for 2 years. Then he came back, rebuilt himself as an OBGYN. Owen Kane Medical Institute as a tribute to Sarah. Dedicated his life to making sure no woman died in childbirth if he could prevent it. Now performing an emergency C-section on Marcus Davison's dying wife, all of that came flooding back. He did this to you too, Owen said to unconscious Bella. He takes everything good and destroys it. The hemorrhaging was worse than normal, alarms blaring. Blood pressure dropping, 80 over 40, 60 over 30. Melissa Hart called out. Owen, she's coding, Melissa said. The monitor flatlined. That single long tone Owen still heard in nightmares. 47 seconds of clinical death. No, not again. Start compressions. Owen refused to give up. He did chest compressions himself personally. Come back. Your babies need you. I will not lose another mother. 47 seconds felt like forever. Then a weak pulse returned. Monitor beeped. Bella's heart started again. Owen delivered the twins. Emma, 4 pounds 1 ounce. Noah, 4 pounds 3 ounces. Both breathing, both crying, both alive. He held them in his hands and something shifted inside him. Purpose returned to eyes that had been dead for 5 years. 3:22 a.m. Bella was stable in recovery, twins in NICU, but healthy. Owen knew hospital protocols. He had to inform the father. He got Marcus's number from Bella's emergency contact card. Called. 6 rings. Then a groggy, annoyed voice. "Who the hell is this?" "Dr. Owen Kane." Long pause. Marcus recognized the name. "Owen? Why are you— Your wife nearly died tonight. You have 2 children, a boy and a girl." Marcus's voice turned cold, alert. "How much does she want? Tell her she's not getting more than the settlement." Owen felt disgust rise in his throat. She was dead for 47 seconds. Her heart stopped. When she woke up, she called your name. Silence. "Do you want to know their names, your children?" "Tell her my lawyer will be in touch. Don't call this number again." Click. Line dead. Owen stared at the phone, fury and disgust warred on his face. He walked to the recovery room. Bella was sleeping, exhausted, IV in her arm, twins in incubators beside her bed. He sat in the chair and watched them. 5 years ago, Marcus took my wife, my company, everything, Owen thought. Maybe this is how I take something back. Not revenge, redemption. He fell asleep in the chair beside her bed, and when Bella woke up 6 days later, Owen Kane was still there. Bella woke in a private recovery suite that looked nothing like any hospital room she'd ever seen. Soft morning light filtered through gauze curtains. Fresh flowers filled crystal vases on every surface. Real art hung on the walls, not the generic prints hospitals usually displayed. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming. Then pain reminded her she was very much alive. The door opened quietly. Owen Kane entered carrying 2 cups of coffee, moving with the careful consideration of someone who'd spent years around trauma patients. "Welcome back to the land of the living," he said, his voice warm but not overly familiar. "How do you feel?" Bella tried to sit up, winced. "Like I was hit by a truck, dragged for several miles, then hit again. Where am I?" "Kane Medical Institute. You've been here 6 days." Owen set 1 coffee on her bedside table within easy reach. "Decaf, doctor's orders." 6 days, the word echoed in her mind. 6 days of her life gone. "My babies." The panic must have shown on her face because Owen immediately held up a hand. "Healthy, both of them. They're in the NICU, but they're thriving. Emma's up to 4 pounds, 3 ounces. Noah's at 4 pounds, 5 ounces. You can see them in about an hour once the morning rounds are finished." Tears ran down Bella's face before she could stop them. Not sad tears. Relief so profound it felt like drowning and breathing at the same time. "I can't afford this," she said, reality crashing back. "The lawsuit, the legal fees. I have no money left. I can't pay for—" "You're my guest, no charge." Owen said it simply, like it was the most natural thing in the world to waive hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills. "I don't understand." Bella searched his face for the catch, the angle, the thing he wanted in return. Years with Marcus had taught her that powerful men always wanted something. "Why would you do this for a stranger?" Owen was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of old grief. "Because 5 years ago, my wife died in childbirth, and nobody was there for her when it mattered most. Because someone should have been there for you, and I happened to be." Over the next 8 weeks, Bella recovered at Kane Institute. She learned Owen's story in pieces, fragments shared during late-night feedings when they'd both be awake with the twins. About Sarah, his wife, who'd had the same complications Bella did. About the medical AI company he'd built with Marcus. The partnership that had seemed unbreakable until it shattered completely. "He took everything," Owen said one night, holding Emma while Bella nursed Noah. "The company, the patents, the future we'd planned. Did it while I was burying my wife. While I was learning to be a single father to a newborn I had no idea how to care for." "He destroyed you too," Bella said quietly. Owen looked at Emma, sleeping in his arms. Something shifted in his expression. Not quite a smile, but close. "He tried, but I'm still here. And so are you." The twins were finally released from NICU in early December. Emma and Noah Morrison Davison, though Bella had already started the paperwork to drop the Davison entirely. But she had nowhere to take them. Jade's apartment was barely big enough for Jade and her own daughter. Adding 2 infants was impossible. I have a property, Owen said one afternoon, carefully casual. They were in the Institute's family lounge, watching the twins sleep in their bassinets. A coach house on my estate in Newton. It's been empty since my in-laws moved to Maine. You could stay there just until you're back on your feet financially. Bella's first instinct was to refuse. She'd spent 6 years having every aspect of her life controlled by a wealthy man. The thought of accepting more help, more charity, more dependence made her skin crawl. But then Emma made a small sound in her sleep, and Bella looked at her daughter's tiny face. Just until I'm back on my feet, Bella agreed. I'll pay you back, every penny. I'm not keeping a tab. Owen's voice was gentle but firm. This isn't a transaction, Bella. It's just the right thing to do. The coach house was beautiful. Stone exterior covered in ivy, hardwood floors, a fireplace that actually worked. 2 bedrooms, a real kitchen, windows that overlooked Owen's garden. It felt like something from a magazine about lives Bella had never thought she'd touch. Jade was suspicious when she visited the first time, walking through with the careful assessment of someone who'd learned to spot danger early. Why is he helping you? Jade asked bluntly, once they were alone in Bella's new kitchen. What does he want? Maybe not all billionaires are Marcus, but even as Bella said it, she wondered, what did Owen Kane want? What was his angle? Or maybe he wants something and he's just better at hiding it. Jade's cynicism came from hard experience. Just be careful, okay? You've been through enough. For the first month, Bella waited for the other shoe to drop, for Owen to make a move, make demands, reveal whatever he really wanted from her. But he just kept showing up, helping with the twins, teaching Noah to hold a bottle without spilling, playing peekaboo with Emma until she giggled. He brought groceries without being asked, fixed the leaky faucet in the bathroom, stayed up with Bella during 3 a.m. feedings, not because he had to, but because he'd been working late at the Institute anyway and saw her light on. Slowly, carefully, Bella started to relax, started to believe that maybe, just maybe, Owen Kane was exactly what he appeared to be, a good man who'd been broken by the same person who broke her, and who'd chosen kindness over bitterness. 6 months after the twins were born, on a quiet evening in June, Owen was teaching Noah to hold his bottle independently. The early summer light made everything golden. Emma was napping in her bouncer. The scene was so peaceful, so domestic, that Bella felt her chest tighten with something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. You're good at this, she said, watching Owen's patient encouragement as Noah's tiny hands gripped the bottle. I had practice. My daughter Lily. Owen's voice went soft with old pain. Where is she now? With her grandparents in Maine, Sarah's parents. I see her every month, but he trailed off and Bella saw the grief still raw on his face. After Sarah died, I wasn't fit to be a parent. I was barely functional. Her parents took her while I rebuilt myself. By the time I was ready, she was settled there. Happy. I couldn't disrupt her life again just because I was finally pulling it together. That must have been incredibly hard. Hardest thing I've ever done. Letting her go, choosing her well-being over my own wants. Owen looked at the twins, but watching you with Emma and Noah, seeing you fight for them even when everything was falling apart, it reminded me what real parenthood looks like. Not possession, protection. Long, comfortable silence filled the room. Then Owen did something that would change everything. He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. Bella's breath caught. I know this is fast, Owen said quickly, and I know you have every reason to be suspicious of men bearing gifts. But I need you to understand something. This isn't because you need saving. You've saved yourself, Bella. You died and came back and rebuilt your entire life from nothing. You're the strongest person I've ever met. He opened the box. A simple platinum band, no diamond, elegant and understated. This is because I need you. You and the twins. You've given me a reason to come home at night. You've shown me that it's possible to choose hope after devastation. And I know I'm damaged goods. I know I'm still working through my own grief. But I also know that I want to build something real with you, if you'll let me. Bella stared at the ring. Every instinct Marcus had cultivated in her screamed warnings. It's too fast. He wants control. Nobody does this without an agenda. But underneath those learned fears, something quieter spoke. This man saved your life. He's never asked for anything. He's been nothing but kind. Owen, I don't know if I can trust love again. Her voice was barely a whisper. Marcus destroyed something in me, made me doubt my own judgment. What if I'm wrong about you too? Then trust yourself first. Trust your instincts, your strength, your ability to survive anything. Owen's eyes were steady, honest. And when you're shady, if you are ready, trust us. Bella looked at this man who had lost everything to the same person who'd destroyed her, who'd rebuilt himself through service instead of bitterness, who loved her children like his own without ever trying to replace their father. Maybe some people really were just good. Maybe not every offer of help came with strings attached. Maybe, just maybe, she could choose to believe in something again. Ask me, Bella said. Bella Morrison, will you marry me? Yes. They kissed, gentle and tentative and full of promise. The twins gurgled in the background, oblivious to the magnitude of the moment. Emma woke up and immediately demanded attention. Noah spit up on Owen's shirt. It was messy and imperfect and real. It was everything Bella's first marriage hadn't been. 2 weeks later, they stood in Boston City Hall. The wedding was tiny. Just Jade, Dr. Melissa Hart, and Owen's daughter Lily, who'd come down from Maine for the ceremony. 7-year-old Lily held Emma while Owen held Noah, and they all stood before a judge who'd probably married 50 couples that day. Bella wore a simple white dress, nothing fancy. Owen wore a gray suit and dropped the ring twice because his hands were shaking. I've got it, Bella laughed, picking up the ring. We're okay. They exchanged vows they had written themselves. I promise to choose you every day, Owen said. Even the hard days, especially the hard days. I promise to let myself be loved, Bella responded. To believe in good things again. To trust that not every ending is an ending. Finally, the judge pronounced them married. The tiny group erupted in applause. Other couples waiting their turn joined in, strangers celebrating strangers in that uniquely human way. Outside, paparazzi were waiting. Someone had tipped them off. Probably Marcus's camp, looking to paint this as some calculated revenge plot. Photos captured Owen and Bella on the courthouse steps, holding the twins, surrounded by their small chosen family. Headlines hit within hours. Rival billionaire marries Marcus Davison's ex-wife. Ultimate revenge. Kane weds Bella Morrison. From tragedy to triumph, doctor saves then marries dying patient. The photos showed them happy. Not movie-perfect happy, but real-life happy. Messy and genuine and full of the complicated joy that comes from surviving hell and finding grace on the other side. Across town in a hotel room that costs $79 a night, Marcus Davison saw those photos on his phone. He'd been drinking. Not drunk, just numb. Claire was long gone. His father wouldn't return calls. The mansion was foreclosed. Everything was falling apart. He stared at the image of Owen Kane holding his children. Bella, radiant and free, smiling in a way she'd never smiled with him. The twins, his biological children, looking at Owen like he was their whole world. What have I done? Marcus whispered to the empty room. But some questions have no good answers. And Marcus was about to learn that redemption, if it comes at all, comes slowly, painfully, one small choice at a time. While across town in a coach house filled with flowers and baby laughter, Bella Kane fell asleep in her new husband's arms and dreamed of futures that didn't include fear. She died for 47 seconds, but she was more alive now than she'd ever been. The custody trial was scheduled for a cold Monday in March, 3 months after Bella and Owen's courthouse wedding. Suffolk County Family Court, downtown Boston, where families were torn apart and stitched back together every day under fluorescent lights and the weight of legal precedent. Bella woke that morning with nausea that had nothing to do with morning sickness and everything to do with terror. Owen found her in the bathroom at 5 a.m., gripping the sink, breathing through waves of panic. He's going to take them, Bella whispered. He has money, lawyers, connections. I'm the woman who almost killed herself while pregnant. I'm the embezzler, the gold digger, the unstable one. Every headline says so. Owen knelt beside her, took her shaking hands. Look at me. You are Emma and Noah's mother. You died for them and came back. No judge who sees you with those twins could ever question that you're where they belong. You don't know that. No, but I know you. And I know that whatever happens today, you're not alone. Not anymore. They arrived at the courthouse at 8:30. Media swarmed immediately. Cameras, microphones, reporters shouting questions that blurred into white noise. Mrs. Kane, any comment on your husband's allegations? Is it true you married Dr. Kane for his money? Do you regret having the twins? Owen's hand found Bella's back, steady and grounding. They pushed through to the entrance. Inside, the building smelled like floor wax and desperation. Every hallway held parents fighting for or against their children, lawyers shuffling papers, kids sitting on benches looking confused and scared. Marcus was already there when they entered the courtroom. He sat at the plaintiff's table with his attorney, a woman named Victoria Chen, who'd made her reputation destroying mothers in custody battles. Marcus looked thinner than Bella remembered, older, but his eyes, when they met hers, held nothing but cold calculation. The judge was a woman in her 60s named Judge Patricia Morrison. No relation to Bella, but the shared last name felt like either a good omen or cosmic irony. She had the worn expression of someone who'd seen every variation of human failure and no longer found any of it surprising. We're here regarding the custody petition filed by Marcus Davison concerning minors, Emma Rose Davison and Noah James Davison. Judge Morrison's voice was crisp, efficient. Mr. Davison, your attorney may begin. Victoria Chen stood. She was impeccable in a navy suit, her presentation polished to a lethal shine. Your Honor, we're here because my client's children are in danger, not physical danger, perhaps, but psychological and emotional danger from a mother who has demonstrated severe mental instability, financial irresponsibility, and questionable judgment. For the next hour, Victoria Chen systematically dismantled Bella's life. She presented the foundation scandal, emphasizing the embezzlement allegations while barely mentioning that Bella had been cleared. She brought up the suicide attempt, reading from the poison control report with clinical detachment. 3 pills, Your Honor, while 8 months pregnant, while carrying my client's children. This is not the action of a stable parent. A psychiatrist testified. Dr. Raymond Foster, who Bella had never met but who'd reviewed her medical records and formed expert opinions about her fitness as a mother. Postpartum depression, documented suicide ideation, a pattern of poor decision-making under stress. In my professional opinion, Mrs. Kane requires intensive psychiatric treatment before she should have unsupervised access to minor children. Then Victoria Chen showed photos. Bella and Owen's wedding, the coach house where they lived, Owen playing with the twins. And within months of leaving my client, Mrs. Kane has married his business rival, a man with a documented grudge against Mr. Davison. One might question whether this marriage is genuine affection or calculated revenge, and whether children should be raised in that environment. Bella felt herself shrinking with each word. This was the story Victoria Chen was telling. Bella, as unstable gold digger who trapped one billionaire, lost him and immediately ensnared another. The twins as pawns in some elaborate revenge plot. When Bella finally took the stand, her hands were shaking so badly she had to grip the rail. Mrs. Kane, is it true you attempted suicide while pregnant with twins? Bella looked at her lawyer, who nodded slightly. Tell the truth. Own it. I thought about it. I took 3 pills. Then I stopped because I wanted to live. For my babies. But you did take pills. While pregnant, you ingested substances that could have harmed your unborn children. I was in crisis. I stopped myself. I chose them. And now you've married your ex-husband's business rival. How convenient. Tell me, Mrs. Kane, what is Dr. Kane worth? Approximately. Bella's throat felt tight. I don't know. Approximately $400 million. You didn't know that? I didn't marry him for money. Of course not. You married him for love, just months after leaving your previous marriage. Tell me, do you often fall in love this quickly? Bella's lawyer objected, but the damage was done. Victoria Chen had painted the picture she wanted. Bella as opportunist, unstable woman, bad mother. Marcus sat at the plaintiff's table, expressionless, watching his lawyer destroy the mother of his children. The courtroom took a 15-minute recess. Bella fled to the bathroom and vomited in the first stall. Jade found her there, helped her clean up. "They're going to take my babies," Bella sobbed. "Not yet, they're not. Owen hasn't testified, and your lawyer said there's a surprise witness." When they reconvened, Owen took the stand. He was calm, professional, every inch the respected physician. Bella's lawyer, a young woman named Jennifer Park, handled his direct examination. "Dr. Kane, you treated Mrs. Kane the night she nearly died. Can you describe her condition?" "Severe preeclampsia leading to placental abruption and hemorrhagic shock. She'd lost approximately 40% of her blood volume. She was clinically dead for 47 seconds. And where was Mr. Davison during this medical emergency?" "I called him at 3:22 a.m. to inform him of his wife's condition and the birth of his children. He asked how much money she wanted and told me not to call again." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Marcus's face remained blank. "Objection! Hearsay!" Victoria Chen was on her feet. "Overruled," Judge Morrison said. "Dr. Kane is testifying as a fact witness to the conversation." Jennifer Park entered phone records into evidence. The hospital's call log showing 47 attempts to reach Marcus that night. Voicemails from nurses, from doctors, from the hospital administrator, all unanswered. Then she entered Marcus's credit card statement from that night. $847 charged at a restaurant at 11:52 p.m. while his wife was dying 15 minutes away. "He was having dinner," Owen said quietly, "with his mistress, while his wife's heart stopped beating, while his children were being born." The courtroom murmured. Judge Morrison banged her gavel. Marcus's face had gone pale. Victoria Chen was shuffling papers, trying to find her footing. Then the courtroom doors opened. Claire Ashford walked in, 7 months pregnant, moving with the careful balance of someone carrying weight that changed her center of gravity. She wore a simple black dress, no makeup, no armor. Everyone turned to stare. "Your Honor," Jennifer Park said, "the defense calls Claire Ashford." "Objection." Victoria Chen was standing, but this witness isn't on the list. She came forward voluntarily this morning. Given the relevance of her testimony, I ask the court's indulgence. Judge Morrison considered. "I'll allow it, but make it quick." Claire took the stand, stated her name. When asked her relationship to the parties, she said simply, "I'm Marcus Davison's former partner, and the reason his marriage ended." For the next 20 minutes, Claire testified. She was calm, factual, devastating. She entered recordings into evidence. Recordings she'd been making secretly for months. Insurance for when Marcus inevitably turned on her like he turned on everyone. The courtroom heard Marcus's voice. "Those babies were never part of my plan. Bella trapped me. I never wanted kids." Another recording, Claire telling him she was pregnant. Marcus's response, "Get rid of it. I already have 2 mistakes." The most damning, Marcus talking to his lawyer about custody strategy. "I'll bury her in court, take the kids, then send them to boarding school in Switzerland. I never have to see them. I just need to make sure she doesn't get them either." Bella pressed her hand to her mouth. The courtroom was dead silent. "Ms. Ashford," Jennifer Park said gently, "why are you testifying today?" Claire looked directly at Marcus. "Because I spent 10 years planning revenge on this man. My father was his business partner. Marcus destroyed him. My father killed himself. I changed my identity, got plastic surgery, seduced Marcus, all so I could destroy him the way he destroyed my family." The courtroom erupted. Judge Morrison banged her gavel. "Order," Claire continued, voice steady despite tears streaming down her face. "But somewhere in my revenge plot, I fell in love with him. Actually loved him. And when he rejected our baby, rejected me, I realized something. I'd become just like him, willing to destroy innocent people for my own agenda. Those twins, Emma and Noah, they're innocent, and they deserve their mother." She pulled out a USB drive. "This contains financial records showing Mr. Davison falsified IRS reports against his wife, emails where he planned to frame her for embezzlement, and recordings of him discussing how to weaponize the legal system to take children he never wanted just to punish their mother." Victoria Chen was objecting repeatedly. Judge Morrison overruled each time. The evidence was too relevant, too damning. Claire played one final recording. Marcus, drunk, talking to her months ago. I should have just paid her to abort when she told me she was pregnant. Would have saved me millions. Bella gasped. The sound was lost in the courtroom chaos. Judge Morrison banged her gavel hard. Order! I will have order in my courtroom. When silence finally fell, the judge looked at Marcus with open disgust. Mr. Davison, is that your voice on these recordings? Marcus and Victoria Chen whispered urgently. Finally, Marcus spoke. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. I've heard enough. Judge Morrison cut him off. This custody petition is denied. Full legal and physical custody is awarded to Isabella Kane. Mr. Davison will have supervised visitation at the court's discretion, initially limited to 2 hours per month. He will pay $2 million per year in child support. And Mr. Davison, let me be crystal clear. You will complete a minimum of 1 year of intensive therapy and anger management before I will even consider expanding your visitation. The gavel banged. Final. Absolute. Mr. Davison, I find your behavior reprehensible. You abandoned your dying wife. You questioned the paternity of your own children. You weaponized the legal system. You attempted to take children you never wanted simply to punish their mother. You are fortunate to have any access at all. Another bang. We're adjourned. Bella couldn't move, couldn't process. She'd won. Completely, totally won. Owen's arms came around her. Jade was crying. Jennifer Park was smiling. In the back of the courtroom, Claire Ashford walked out without looking back. Marcus sat at the plaintiff's table, his lawyer gathering papers with jerky, angry movements. He looked up once, met Bella's eyes. What she saw there wasn't anger. It was devastation. The full weight of everything he'd destroyed finally crashing down on him. Bella felt no triumph, no satisfaction, just exhausted relief. Her children were safe. Finally, they were safe. Outside the courthouse, media swarmed, but Bella barely noticed. She held Owen's hand and thought about her twins, waiting at home with Jade's mom. Thought about the life she could finally build without looking over her shoulder. It's over, she whispered. Owen kissed her forehead. No, it's just beginning. And for the first time in years, that didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like a promise. After the trial, Marcus Davison's life imploded with the methodical thoroughness of a controlled demolition. Each explosion precise, calculated, inevitable. Claire's evidence went straight to the SEC. Within 48 hours, they'd opened a full investigation into Davison Digital's financial practices, the hidden accounts in the Cayman Islands, the shell companies, the tax fraud that had been happening for years, invisible until someone with intimate knowledge pulled back the curtain. The company's board called an emergency meeting. Marcus walked into that conference room on a Tuesday morning, still believing he could salvage it, still believing his name, his reputation, his track record meant something. He was wrong. The board has voted unanimously, the chairman said. Effective immediately, you're removed as CEO. Security will escort you from the building. You have 1 hour to clear your personal effects. Marcus stared. You can't do this. I built this company. It's mine. Actually, it's the shareholders. And right now you're toxic. The stock's down 73%. We're hemorrhaging clients. You have become a liability we can't afford. They escorted him out through the loading dock, not even the dignity of the front entrance. 38 years old, and he was being thrown away like garbage. The federal indictment came 3 weeks later. Tax evasion, securities fraud, obstruction of justice. The charges read like a greatest hits of white-collar crime. His lawyer said he was looking at 5 to 7 years if convicted. The mansion went into foreclosure. The cars were repossessed. His father held a press conference. Richard Davison stood before cameras, looking every one of his 65 years. Marcus Davison is no longer part of this family. The Davison name has stood for integrity for 3 generations. My son has destroyed that legacy. He is dead to me. Marcus watched the press conference from a hotel room. Not even a nice hotel. A Holiday Inn Express off Route 95, $79 a night, continental breakfast included. He'd been drinking, but not enough to make the words stop cutting. Dead to me, dead to me, dead to me. His phone buzzed, a text from his lawyer. Bella's filed restraining order. Can't contact her or twins. Violation means jail. Marcus looked at his phone's photo gallery. The only pictures he had of Emma and Noah were from the hospital, minutes after birth, before he'd walked away, before he'd destroyed everything. 8 months old now, and he'd never held them, never changed a diaper, never heard Emma's laugh or seen Noah's smile. Strangers in law, strangers in life. He called Bella's number. Blocked. Called Owen's clinic. The receptionist's voice was cold. Dr. Kane has requested no contact from you, Mr. Davison. He was alone. Truly, completely alone. This was what he'd built. An empire of isolation. The plea deal came in December. 18 months in minimum security federal prison if he pleaded guilty to everything. His lawyer said take it. The alternative was trial, conviction, 5 years or more. Marcus signed the papers. What else was there to do? 4 years later, the world looked different. Marcus lived in a studio apartment in Revere, 30 minutes from Boston. 400 square feet, Murphy bed, hot plate for a stove. It cost $900 a month and still took most of his paycheck. He worked as an addiction counselor at a community center. $42,000 a year. He'd gotten the bomb after prison, after 2 years of sobriety, after finally accepting that he was the problem, that he'd always been the problem. His clients were people like him, people who destroyed their lives through selfishness, through addiction, through the belief that they were special and the rules didn't apply. He told them his story, not the billionaire parts, the parts about losing everything, about being so empty inside that no amount of success could fill it. I had a wife who loved me, Marcus told his Tuesday night group. 2 children. More money than I could spend in 3 lifetimes. And I threw it away because I was terrified. Terrified of being vulnerable. Terrified of being needed. Terrified that if anyone saw the real me, they'd realize I was nothing. What changed? Someone asked. I lost everything. And when you have nothing left, you either die or you start building something real. I chose the second option. Barely. The supervised visitation happened twice a month, 2 hours, Sunday afternoons at a family center in Cambridge. A social worker watched every interaction, took notes, filed reports. For the first 6 months after prison, Marcus couldn't bring himself to use those hours. The shame was too crushing. What would he say to children who didn't know him? What right did he have to disrupt their lives? But his therapist pushed him. They deserve the chance to know their biological father. Even if that father is deeply flawed. Even if you're not the dad you should have been. So Marcus started showing up. Emma and Noah were 3.5 years old by then. They arrived with Owen, who waited in the lobby reading a book while the social worker supervised. The twins were cautious, curious, confused. Are you our other daddy? Emma asked the first time. Marcus's throat closed up. Yes, I'm Marcus, your biological father. Why don't we live with you? Noah asked. Simple question, devastating answer. Because I made bad choices. I wasn't ready to be a father. Your mom and Dr. Kane, they take better care of you than I ever could. Over months, they built something fragile. Not father and children, not really, but not strangers either. Emma told him about her ballet class. Noah showed him pictures he'd drawn. They were polite, gentle, patient with him in the way children sometimes are with damaged adults. Marcus brought them books, art supplies, things he hoped they'd like. He asked Owen what they were interested in, and Owen always answered. Professional, courteous, never cruel. How are they doing in school? Marcus asked once at a transition between visits. Emma loves reading. Noah's better at math. They're good kids. Bella's doing an amazing job. And you, Marcus said. It was hard to get the words out. You're doing an amazing job too. Thank you for being the father I couldn't be. Owen looked at him for a long moment. They deserve better than what you gave them. But I'm glad you're trying now. That counts for something. It wasn't forgiveness, but it wasn't hatred either. It was something more complicated. Grace maybe, the kind that's harder to accept than punishment. Emma and Noah's 4th birthday party was on a Saturday in June. Marcus knew about it because he'd seen Bella post about it on the semi-private Instagram she maintained for family. He had no right to be there, no invitation, no place in their lives beyond those supervised hours twice a month. But he drove to Newton anyway, parked across the street from Owen's estate, watched through the fence, white tent in the garden, dozens of children running wild. Emma in a purple dress, Noah in a little button-down shirt. They looked so happy, so completely, utterly happy. Owen lifted Emma up, spun her around. Her laughter carried across the distance. Bella stood on the porch, pregnant again, hand on her belly. She was glowing, radiant, everything Marcus had tried to extinguish. Security approached his car. "Sir, you need to move along. I just wanted to see them, just once. This is private property. I can call the police." Marcus started his car, about to leave, to disappear back to his studio apartment and his empty life. Then Bella saw him. Their eyes met across the distance. 4 years of history in one look. All the betrayal, all the pain, all the complicated aftermath. She could have called the police. Should have, probably. He was violating the boundaries of the custody agreement, but instead she said something to Owen. Walked to the gate alone. Marcus got out of his car. They stood on opposite sides of the fence, so close and impossibly far. "You look different," Bella said finally. "I'm different. I've been working on myself. Therapy, AA meetings, all of it. I know it doesn't change anything, but I'm trying." Good. Silence. Years of silence compressed into seconds. "They're beautiful," Marcus said. "The twins. Yes, they are. I sent the child support every month. I know it doesn't make up for it doesn't, but thank you." "Do they ask about me?" Bella was quiet for a moment. Sometimes Emma asked why she has two last names, why some kids at school have different parents. "What did you tell her?" "That her biological father is sick, that he's working on getting better, that maybe someday, when he's healthier, they can have more of a relationship." Bella's voice was steady, not cruel, just honest. "I won't lie to them about you, but I won't pretend you were something you weren't either." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "I don't deserve your honesty, your grace, any of it." "No, you don't. But they deserve to know their story, the real one, not a fairy tale and not a tragedy, just the complicated truth." Bella opened the gate. "You can watch, from here, at the edge. Don't come closer, and when I say it's time to leave, you leave." "Bella, don't thank me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for them. And for me, Sydney, to prove you don't control my story anymore." Marcus stood at the edge of the party, 30 feet from everyone. Watched his children play games he didn't know the rules to. Watched Owen be the father Marcus had never figured out how to be. Watched Bella comfortable in a life that didn't include him except in the margins. It hurt. God, it hurt. But he stayed, bore witness to what he'd thrown away. After 10 minutes, he was about to leave. Then Emma ran over holding a cupcake. "Are you my other daddy?" Every adult in the vicinity froze. Marcus knelt down, eye level with his daughter. "Yes, sweetheart. Yes, I am." "Do you tiny like cake?" The simplest question, the most devastating. "I would love cake." Bella nodded permission. Marcus sat at the kids' table, plastic chairs too small for him, paper plates with cartoon characters. Emma chattered about her favorite princess. Noah was shy, but showed Marcus a rock he'd found that he thought looked like a dinosaur. Marcus listened like it was the most important conversation of his life, because it was. These 20 minutes, sitting at a kid's table eating birthday cake with children who barely knew him, were the most real thing he'd experienced in 5 years. Owen watched from a distance, arm around Bella. "You're a better person than I am," he said quietly. "No, I'm just tired of hate, tired of anger. It takes up too much space." Bella leaned against her husband. "He destroyed me, but I rebuilt myself, and now I get to decide what my story means." After 20 minutes, Bella walked over. "It's time." Marcus stood immediately. "Thank you for this, for everything." Emma hugged his leg. "Will you come back?" Marcus looked at Bella. She nodded slightly. "Maybe, if your mom says it's okay." He walked back to his car, hands shaking, heart full of something he couldn't quite name. Not redemption, not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. As he drove away, he looked in the rearview mirror, saw Owen and Bella standing together, saw Emma and Noah running back to their friends, saw the life he'd lost and the people who'd rebuilt it without him. He'd destroyed everything, but they'd survived. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Later that evening, after the party guests had gone home and the twins were sleeping off their sugar highs, Owen and Bella sat on the back porch. The June air was soft, warm, perfect. Lightning bugs blinked in the garden like tiny stars. "Was that okay?" Owen asked quietly, letting him stay. Bella was quiet for a moment, considering. "I don't know, maybe. The twins deserve to meet him, to see that he's real, not just a story I tell. They have a father. Me." Bella turned to face him, took his hand. "I know. And you're everything a father should be. But they also deserve to know their biology, their full story, not for him, for them, so they don't spend their lives wondering." "You're teaching them something I never learned," Owen said, "that broken people can still deserve compassion. That grace doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to be consumed by bitterness. He destroyed me, Owen. He almost killed me. And you rebuilt yourself. That's the story they need to hear. That's the victory." They sat in comfortable silence, wedding rings catching the porch light. 4 years of marriage. Not perfect, but real. Built on honesty and mutual healing. "Do you ever regret it?" Owen asked, letting him back in even a little. "No, because I didn't do it for him. I did it for me, to prove he doesn't control my story anymore. I choose who I am now. I choose what my life means." Bella touched her belly, 5 months pregnant with their first biological child together. "I choose this family, this life, this future." "Who are you now?" Bella smiled. "Dr. Bella Kane, mother of 4 if we're counting Lily, wife, survivor, someone who died for 47 seconds and came back stronger." "4," Owen repeated softly. "Lily counts." "Of course she does. She's ours too." Owen's eyes filled with tears. The daughter he'd had to give up slowly coming back into his life. Monthly visits turning into weekly phone calls. Her bedroom in the main house, waiting for when she was ready to spend weekends. "I love you," Owen said. "I know. I love you too. Finally, I can say it and mean it completely. Without fear. Without wondering when it'll be taken away." They kissed as the sun set. The twins were visible through the window, sleeping in their shared room. Emma clutching her stuffed rabbit. Noah sprawled across his bed like he was making snow angels. The camera of memory pulls back slowly. Owen and Bella wrapped in a blanket. Their life together, imperfect and beautiful. In the distance, Marcus's car had long since disappeared. Bella spoke almost to herself. "They say the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. It took me dang for 47 seconds to learn how to truly live. When I came back, I chose peace over revenge. Not because he deserved it, because I did. I chose to raise children who know their worth. I chose a man who sees my strength, not my weakness. I chose myself. And that's the only victory that matters." On the porch table sat a family portrait from that afternoon. Owen, Bella, Lily visiting from Maine, Emma, Noah, all smiling, sun-drenched and real. Behind it, tucked into a drawer Bella rarely opened, an old photograph. Bella and Marcus on their wedding day, young and hopeful and doomed. She'd kept it not to remember him, but to remember herself, to remember how far she'd come. From dying on an operating table to building a life that mattered. From believing she was worthless to knowing she was enough. From victim to survivor to something beyond either label. Just Bella. Finally, blessedly, just herself. And in that moment, sitting on her porch with her husband and her sleeping children and her whole future ahead of her, Bella Kane understood something fundamental. You can't choose what breaks you, but you can choose how you rebuild. And sometimes the person who saves you is yourself. You just have to choose to live. Even when it's the hardest thing you've ever done. Especially then.